name's Robin Dodd. I'm a landscape photographer based in the UK, and today we're going to have a look at mountain photography and how to create that as a black and white image and how to then edit it. And we're going to Scotland to climb a mountain and see how it's done. Do you want to master black and white landscape editing? Well, later I'll walk you through my full process in the DxO Nik Collection editing suite, from the first adjustments to an image that makes a worthy fine art print. Okay, so I hope you can hear me. I didn't bring the mic up because I had to wild camp up here last night, and we're in Assynt, and it's beautiful, calm morning. Time is it? Well, it's nearly 11 now. So I've been walking a bit after doing some shooting over in that direction, which is brilliant for colour and all that sort of stuff. And we had beautiful sunrise, but now behind us, this is my view, is a good example of what could look good as a black and white mountain image. And so I'll just show you very quickly the composition ideas in my head, and then later I'll show you how I would edit that to bring out the details. It was my Scottish mountain shot in 2024 that won the British Wildlife Photography Awards for the black and white category. I shoot black and white with the intention to do so. I don't shoot black and white as an afterthought. I tend to shoot black and white in the extremes up in the mountains, so for example when the weather is appalling or it's extremely bright sunlight which is almost overpowering the camera. So let's look at the process for creating a black and white image up in the mountains, and then we'll look at how we go about editing that. So the concept of black and white is to put across your own personal view of what you think that image should look like. To me, this is a contrasty scene. It's a contrasty scene, so that is why we're shooting in black and white. Certainly when the sun gets to a certain level. I mean, we're October here now, middle of October, and the sun up this high in Scotland stays relatively low, so you get beautiful shadows. And you can see behind me we've got those dark shadows on this rock, and then obviously we've got the sky slightly blown out, but you can still see some blue. And what I've done is I put the polarizer on, and then sometimes the polarizer is not too good with mountains, particularly on a wide angle. I don't know what this is. Not that wide, but slightly zoomed in, between 24 and 35. Say it's 35mm, I think this is, without looking at the camera. So we've got the whole scene in, and we know that it's going to be black and white, and so the polarizer darkens those blues down, and they will look black to bring the viewer's eye down onto those rocks there, and Stack Poly, which is the mountain in the middle. And so we're framing the iconic mountain, and that iconic mountain is Stack Poly. And then to the side we've got Sylvan and a few of the other mountains in this wonderful location that draws photographers, but only hardy ones who can put up with a very chilly night and a long slog up here. And then I will explain how I edit those later and show you the final image. Okay, here we have our image open in Lightroom in the library. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to put this straight into the DxO Nik Collection, basically black and white plugin, which is Silver Efex Pro. And I'll just right click, edit in, and come back down to my plugin, which is already loaded, and click on it. It's asking me if I want to open it as a copy, which I do. There's been no edits on this image, it's straight from the raw image. That's how it was taken in colour. Okay, my image has now opened in the Nik 8 Silver Efex Collection plugin, and we're going to work from this solely, so we'll just open it up to its full. Obviously we can change how big it is by scrolling on the mouse. I use a white background because I tend to print with a matte, so that's how I like to see it. It just gets the tones right for me. If we have a look here on the right hand side, this is the working dialog box, Nik Collection has a number of, I think, tools is the best way to describe it, on the left hand side here, and then once you click the plus button they come up on this side. So we've got a histogram, which is very handy, and at the top here, and it's worth playing around this, and you can leave these on as you're editing. This is like Ansel Adams' zone system, and it tells you what zone certain tones are in. It's quite handy, but we can just close this up so it's just hidden for the moment to make the dialog box a lot easier and less cluttered. The first thing we always work from is the film types, so you click there. There's tons of film types to use. Just scroll down through them to go right the way up to sort of, for example, 3200 ISO, Ilford Delta, which has probably been pushed, and they're good for street photography. But these ones here, they're quite good for landscape and portraits. So I'm going to click on this AFGA Pro 100, and this is the film profile. You can change the film profile. Basically, a negative film in analog world is sensitive to certain light waves. So for example, some films might be more sensitive to red and react differently, so that's what would happen if that was the case, because I'm pushing up the red sensitivity there. I'm going to have it a little bit higher than that original film was, because I like this area to be a little bit lighter, and you can muck around with a curve and tone curve and all that sort of stuff for that film. But I'm going to just like minimize that again now, so it's not cluttered, and now it's a question of choosing what tools I'm going to use to change it. I wanted to make it more dynamic and contrasty in certain areas, particularly the sky, and maybe pull up the shadows lower down here. So what we're going to do is a bit like dodging and burning. So first of all, we look at the global adjustments. You can put a star on these things if you like them. They're like favorites, so you quickly spot them. But this is the basic adjustments. I click the plus button, and it's appeared here on the right hand side. So now it's just a question of changing it to your personal preferences, bearing in mind we're now starting at a neutral point. There are presets that you can use from here. You scroll down and choose them, and they will pre-fill these areas. That's something to look at and play with, really. There it is, and just a bit up on the mid-tones and the shadows, maybe. Dynamic brightness, maybe a tad. This is where we're really going to start to play a bit of the blacks, and the structure is a very powerful tool. There we go. This is like, the structure is like clarity slider and the dehaze slider on Lightroom. We can do it in certain areas. The highlights, if you look in the sky, you can see that. They're getting a bit blown out now, but we can sort that out. The mid-tones, you can see it changing the sky and the mid-distance there. And let's have a look at the shadows. making a little bit of difference in the shadows. Fine, I'm happy with that. We're starting to get somewhere now with that. I don't think I'm going to change an awful lot more in it. I now want to change the sky, or adjust the sky, and the way we do this is this sort of dodging and burning method that is used, which is the local adjustment points. So I am going to, there's 5 different types you can use. There's like this polygon tool here. These 3 I use mainly: the polygon tool, essentially a linear gradient is called a control line, and a single point. So I'm going to do the control line, which is like the radial gradient. And if you want to see what that looks like, all you need to do is click down here on that. You see it's come up to control line. You just click that button and you can see what area. The algorithm's quite clever and just chooses certain areas. I find it quite good, and we can just change let's come back out of it. Sorry, we can just extend the line a little bit here to make it more feathered as we go along. You see how that's feathered into the mountains. So what I'm going to do is, if we come down, careful not to change the global adjustments. If we then come down here, this changes the luminance and the chrominance will change what happens and how that mask layer works. I'm not going to go into that now, but here we'll change the brightness and all the other aspects of it. So I'm going to bring the contrast up, brightness down a little bit. I'm going to bring the structure up, and now you can see I'm getting my blacks. You remember I was talking about the polarizer filter producing those darker blue skies that will give me the blacks, and I can amplify this again with this amplify the blacks. There we go, and that's starting to push the viewer's eye down. I'm not happy that the skies may be a little bit too dull, so I'm just pumping up the whites a little bit, and I'm almost happy with that for the sky. So that's the sky done. There's 2 areas I now want to change. I'll do local adjustments to. There's an area around here where I think the shadows could come out slightly. This rock I think could be lightened up, and then the area on the left hand side, the grass, could be dulled down, and there's to draw the eye towards these main central rock, foreground rock. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to select a point, control point, click on there, and now we want to have a look and see what that's covering. So that seems to have covered the area. You can change the size of it and the shape of it just to sort of like adjust where that is going to control. The adjustment of this can be more complicated, but I'm not going to go into it now. But you can significantly change how this mask and the area it acts on. So I'm going to come back so I can see what I'm going to adjust, and then I come down here, and now I'm just going to change some certain areas. I'm going to bring up the brightness slightly, not too much, and I'm going to reduce the contrast a little bit, but I'm going to bring up a little bit of blacks. And where's the structure? Bit of structure. Right, so we can turn this on and off to see if it's made any difference. And as you can see, it's brought a little bit of detail back into that shadow area. I still think it needs to be a little bit more shadowed. So I think I'm going to bring the structure up a bit, and I'm going to bring the blacks up a bit. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the rock, I want that a little bit more lighter. So just very quickly, I can put a similar point onto here. Let's have a look and see what it's covering. It's covering too much, so we're just going to make it smaller. Just close that down. In fact, another way of doing that is you can just actually make it smaller like that. Good. And I'll come back and have a look at that point, and I'm going to make the adjustments. I'm just going to make it slightly brighter with a bit more structure, and maybe amplify the whites a little bit. There we go. And we can duplicate that so that it appears. Let me show you the easiest way of showing you this is to highlight the mask, and then we can press Alt and then click on it and drag, and each time we do that we're duplicating exactly the same tonal differences that we've made onto that rock. And now just to have a look and see what that's done. There we go. So we can turn all of this on and off, and we see the differences that we've made. And with those rocks, we can turn that front rock off and back on again, so we can see the difference we've made. So I'm happy with that. Last bit I think it needs a little bit of sort of clarity in the mid distance on the mountains, and I want to make this area a bit darker. I suppose the simplest way to do that would be one of these linear tools, and then just bring down the brightness. There you go. That's a simple way of doing it. There's more complicated ways of doing it. Maybe I'll buy the blacks a little bit there. Okay, let's give it that bit of contrast. And then we could turn that on and off to see the difference that it's made. Hold it down a little bit, that's good. And the last area that I want to deal with is the distance in the mountains in the distance. So I'm just going to put their own individual there we go, control points on there. I'm going to bring the structure up, and I'm going to bring the blacks up, maybe a bit of contrast. That's good. And then I can copy this by Alt and then drag, and I'm going to bring it over to Stack Poldy, and maybe a little bit down in the foreground. I'm happy with that now. I think we can turn all of that on and off, those local adjustments. So you can see the masking that's taken place, and you can see the local adjustments coming on and off, and that's the difference. And see compare the beginning. That's the colour one, so we can change this. Neutral. So that's the original. Sorry, that's the original, and that's the final completed version, whether you like it or not. And then all we do is apply. And here we are, open in Lightroom. That's really the image. So don't forget, if you're interested in the Nik Collection, there's a discount code here that you can put in, and if you're buying it for the first time, you'll get 15% off. I'll get I'm an affiliate, so I'll get a little bit from that as well. Yeah, that's it. And then the next video will probably be a general one of my mountaineering in Scotland, and the photography and the pros and cons of shooting in Scotland.